A very good evening to you. It's You Health Chat, proudly sponsored by National Medical Stores. My name is Sophia Matovo. Now, living with kidney disease is really associated with a lot of hardships for the patient as well as for the caregivers or the people looking after the person. It is not something that you would say is easy. Now, in today's episode of the show, there is need to, broaden your knowledge and understanding when it comes to living well with kidney disease. And with me in studio to talk about this topic of discussion is none other than Dr. David Atuhe, who is a kidney health specialist. Young as he is, I found it quite interesting because we're used to most of them being much older. Doctor, a very good evening to you.
Good evening to you too, Sophie. I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we never take it for granted that, let's say, what is kidney disease?
What is kidney?
Oh, yes, start with what's kidney, by the way.
Yeah. So, God was very gracious to us, and He gave us two bean-shaped organs at the back of our bodies. These bean-shaped organs are called kidneys. It's a pair of them, and they are important for us because they help us to release and remove toxins from our body. Everything we eat, everything we drink, everything we breathe, somehow the body is a large factory. And each time you're walking, each time you're breathing, this factory is making products, making wastes. And like each time the factory makes products, there's always a waste product. Something must be there to move that waste product. And that thing is the kidney. And it uses urine to do that. Another one that helps it is the liver. But we shall talk about that another time.
Okay.
Today's
now, when you say the back, be specific. There are certain times people will feel back pain, and by the strange enough, some people don't know which parts of the body or where exactly these organs are found in the body. One just says, I have a kidney, and they do not know when they'll feel pain. Some will think it's that you say it at the back.
Yes.
Where exactly at the back?
All right. So if you hold your ribs, the lowermost rib on both sides, and you place your hand over it like this, now to the back of that, at the utmost back, that's where the kidneys are. They are covered by muscle, of course, so they're not injured. And then they're right in a place called the paracardial gutter, but that's another thing for another day. But they are well protected in there, and they are nowhere near the intestines. They are covered well by a membrane. They do their things at the back there, and everything goes smoothly.
Okay. Now, kidney disease is what it is.
Yes.
What exactly, at what point do we say that the kidney, has gotten a disease, is infected, is damaged?
It's interesting that you mentioned infected, because kidneys can actually get infected. Like any other organ in our body, the kidney can get an infection that will make it get dysfunctional. We say you have kidney disease if you have any disease that either in your whole body is a part of a general disease like diabetes or hypertension, and then this disease starts to damage specific areas of the kidney. And this makes the kidney start to become, start not to do its work as it should. The major functions of the kidney, it filters, and when it realizes that you're losing too much, it reabsorbs. When it realizes that you have a bit too much, it can actually push some things out. So all those functions can be deranged by certain diseases. So I've mentioned that you can have a disease in your body, and this disease can actually affect your kidneys. And once we see that there's a kidney has been affected, then we say you have kidney disease. But you can also have kidney disease that you are born with. Some of these kidney diseases are as early as at birth. And some child is born with kidney disease that the kidney has cysts, the kidney is absent, the kidney is 1 instead of 2.
Oh, wow.
The kidney is supposed to be secreting through a tube, the tube is not there, and all those are abnormalities of the kidney, and that we say you have kidney disease. We also have some kidney diseases which directly attack the kidney. These ones are called primary diseases. And these normally attack the areas where the kidney is sieving from, the areas where the kidney is secreting from, the areas where the kidney is reabsorbing from. It is a vast and immense area of kidney disease, so to say. We see a lot of kidney disease in patients who have long-standing diseases. And this is because the kidney, on a general, day-to-day basis, it receives so much blood from your heart. Each time your heart pumps, every time the heart pumps, say about 72 beats a minute, and releases all that blood. Imagine a quarter of that blood goes through the kidney every minute. So when you have a disease that has been there for long, unfortunately, the kidney might be affected.
Oh, yeah.
Might be affected. The long-standing diseases that we see commonly, high blood pressure, diabetes, HIV, are the commonest. But there are others as well that can go ahead and damage the kidneys. So if you have any kidney dysfunction for whatever reason, we say you have kidney disease. And interestingly, you do not have to have it's a spectrum, so to say. You can have what we call mild disease, which is minimal. It's there. We see it. We tell you about it, but we tell you not to worry about it. But that can also progress now to more severe disease. I think which I'll be looking at a bit later, most likely.
How big is the problem of kidney disease in Uganda?
Kidney disease in Uganda is not much different from the rest of the world. In the world, we say about 1 in 10 patients has a kidney disease. So if you're 10 people in a matatu, unfortunately, 1 of you might have kidney disease. In Uganda, the study is done by my seniors. We have seen about between 2% and 14%. And this depends on which areas we have looked at. In a general population, in a place where we do not expect so much disease, it could be as low as 5%. But in the people who are at high risk, the ones I mentioned earlier, HIV disease, diabetic clinics, hypertension clinics, and even clinics of cancer clinics, clinics of prostate, so urology clinics, all those have a higher percentage of kidney diseases because they are at a higher risk of kidney disease. So the disease is actually present with us. When you go to the hospitals, if a ward has about 100 patients, and it's a medical ward, maybe about 20 of them might have kidney disease. So 1 in 5. If you go deeper in the hospital and you go to the ICU, where patients are sicker,
it is bigger.
It is bigger. So the more sick you are, the more likely you are to have kidney disease. Yes.
Now, what are the causes from your interventions? Because I believe on a routine basis, you're interacting with people with this kind of conditions. What are the causes?
So we have known some causes internationally, right? And some of those, unfortunately, through the studies that my seniors have done in Uganda, have shown a bit of a difference from the international studies. So when you go back to the cause, like I'd said earlier, some of these kidney diseases, you're born with them. So that becomes the cause, right? Because you've been born with this kidney which has many chambers, many cysts. You've born with a kidney which is only one. You've born with a kidney which has all kinds of abnormalities, and that's a cause. So there are some genetic predispositions to kidney diseases. And then when you talk about children, I'll try to separate them because the causes might be a bit different.
Okay.
When you talk about children, I think in Uganda, malaria as an infection causes more kidney disease than anything else, especially the kidney disease that we call short-term or acute kidney disease, the one that happens very rapidly, and it needs very, very fast intervention. And half of these might actually even go to need intervention like dialysis. So malaria is a huge cause in children. And then, of course, infections, like other infections that affect the kidney. So in children and even in adults, there are some infections that involve the throat and the skin. And because the throat and the skin share some similar components of the kidneys, when the body is fighting these infections, it goes and fights the kidney as well.
Oh.
In simple terms. And next thing you know, you have kidney disease from a skin infection or from a throat infection. So most times we ask the patients, have you had a skin infection? Have you had a throat infection? You know? So that alone can also cause kidney disease. Other infections like I talked about earlier, HIV, you know. And when it comes now to the ICU, things go a bit haywire. Because literally almost anything can cause kidney disease in the ICU. A patient with a pneumonia can get kidney disease. Because the kidneys, I find kidneys, I normally tell some people that kidneys are very good civil servants. They love to work. They love to see blood. They love to see, you know, they like bathing in water. And when that is not available, they say, hey, not today, we do not have work or whatever. Give us some work. So in circumstances where the blood pressures are dropping and the kidneys realize, hey, we're not receiving enough work.
The sugar levels are going high.
Yeah, sugar levels are going high. They complain. And when they complain and you listen early enough, they are happy. But when they complain and you intervene late, or maybe when you complain and you hadn't expected it, or they complain for longer because of all kinds of delays of transfer, delays of this and that, then that becomes a bit of a problem. Another cause of kidney disease, actually, more of associated with, is lifestyle. Kidney disease is part of a group of diseases we call non-communicable diseases. Yes. And these include, you know, chronic lung disease, hypertension, diabetes, and then chronic kidney disease. And so when you have these non-communicable diseases, you are more likely to get kidney disease because of the same causes that you had. Could be obesity, you know, could be smoking, could be excessive alcohol intake, okay, and of course lack of activity, which leads to all those things. You know, I joke with my family. My brother knows this, that maybe we were never supposed to get out of the Garden of Eden, you know, until someone ate the fruit. But that's another issue for another day. So I think we were supposed to eat healthily. We were really never supposed to process meat. I do not think we were ever supposed to, you know, to do all kinds of preservation and chemical preservation of this and that. We were supposed to dive in the water, pick a fish, bite it. and it involved a lot of activity, because by the time you chase a warthog to get it and eat it, it's a lot of energy. And you spend energy, and it's excitable, you know, you're exciting. You reached 18, they told you to go and hunt, you know, and it was okay, because at 18 you're ready to run, and you start being, you know, very active. Then you're eating all kinds of fruits from everywhere. But then someone told us, now you should burn this meat. Someone told us, now you should
boil
fry
these vegetables.
Boil the vegetables, fry, put royco. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But, you know, you can imagine. So many things that we've done that was not supposed to be part of have actually led us to, I believe, get some of the diseases. We say you are what you eat. Yeah, true. We say you are what you eat. And the best pharmacy is actually in Nakasero market, so to say.
Very true.
So those are some of the diseases, the causes that we have seen, and some others, of course, which I might not have talked about. But I think if we look at those causes, the infections, and then the long-term diseases, And of course, drugs.
Mm.
We are advocates of some drugs not being over the counter. Over the counter meaning you don't just access a drug.
Yeah, true.
Mm? You don't just go and say, give me diclofenac, I feel pain here. Some of these drugs have been associated with kidney disease on a long-term basis. There are drugs we call non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, things like diclofenac, ibuprofen, indomethacin,
Piroxicam.
piroxicam.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you'll find people with chronic back pains, people with chronic pains in the knees, taking them for long, and that, if not checked, can actually cause kidney disease.
Actually self-medicating.
Self-medicating,
Mhm.
right? And there are some other drugs, of course, I've not talked about. There are some drugs that are good for you, okay? But somehow, of course, they also have an effect on your kidneys. And if I'm going to use it on you, then I'll tell you this drug has an effect on your kidneys. We'll need to keep checking to make sure that if it is either minimal or not there, and if it's there, then I'll have to change it. Okay. Then I think we've talked about the smoking and the alcohol, excessive alcohol, and I don't want to go through that again. Another cause that is sometimes ignored is herbal medicine. We have seen some cases of herbal medicine causing kidney disease, and we do not know if it is the amount of herbal medicine that you take or a type of herbal medicine that you take. But I'll always ask you, have you been taking any herbal medicine? Especially if I cannot find any other cause. I'll ask you, have you been taking any herbal medicine? Half the time someone tells you yes. Half the time someone tells you yes. Another cause of kidney disease that we cannot ignore is when the urinary tract is obstructed. I'll give you an example. When men grow older, there's a gland at the end of the urinary bladder. It surrounds the tube that comes out of the bladder for urinating. It's called a prostate gland. This gland becomes bigger when you grow older. In some instances, it might grow so big that it blocks the urinary flow. And when it does that, that black backflow causes pressure, causes infection, yes, but also causes back pressure on the kidneys. And I told you they are civil servants. They continue working. When they see there's nowhere to put where they are supposed to put, they'll complain.
True.
They'll complain, and then they'll get kidney disease, right? Another unfortunate cause of kidney disease, I call it unfortunate because no one brings it upon themselves, is okay, maybe not cause, but a risk factor.
Okay.
Pregnancy. Some of the ladies who get pregnant get high blood pressure, and once in a while this high blood pressure becomes very high, and it causes some damage
To the kidney.
to the liver, to the blood, and sometimes even to the brain. I do not know if you've heard, but there's some ladies who they get high blood pressure, especially near the end of pregnancy, and then they convulse, shake like as if they have epilepsy. This is a syndrome of your events, and part of this could be involving the kidney. So everywhere where there's high blood pressure, the kidneys are not happy. They're not happy. So I call it unfortunate because it's not planned. It's supposed to be a very happy process, and then this happens.
Yeah, true.
And some of these have gone on to even require what we call renal replacement. It's called dialysis.
Oh, wow.
So that cause, I don't know, I put it last because it's very disturbing.
Yeah, I understand.
And maybe even emotional.
Okay, now we have scenarios of like the way we live and just the way human nature is. By the time we get to sense that maybe the body is, sending signals that something is not right in the system, it is possibly too late. You might feel a pain and you're like, it's minor, it's slight. You go get your over-the-counter drugs and you're good to go. And you push through the day. you push through the second day, you keep moving on like that.
Yeah.
What are some of those high alert signs and symptoms that one needs to look out for so that they are able to run for quick intervention?
So, kidney disease is a silent disease.
It's a silent disease.
Silent killer.
Oh.
So by the time you have signs, like you said, things have gone wrong in many, many ways. Because God gave us two. So, there's a lot of reserve. There's a lot of things that happen that keep you almost normal, right? But we can tell you that if you, and I think before you get these symptoms, if you have the high risk diseases we've talked about, check your kidneys, right? Check your kidneys every year, every 6 months. Because the symptoms that you get that show you that you have kidney disease usually come near the end. They usually come when the process has gone so far into itself. And these include swelling of the feet, swelling of the face, right? These include, you might feel weak most of the time and you do not know why.
Fatigued kind of fish.
Yes. Fatigued. You do not know why. It could be your kidneys. When the kidney disease become so advanced, your blood might drop. So you might get signs and symptoms of low blood levels. Things like your heart, your heart pumping, what you call palpitations, intonus in Uganda. You might feel weak, chronic headaches, you do not know what's going on, right? But some of the things that can tip you off and say, I have to see a doctor, one of them is pain. So God created pain for that reason. So back pain that you don't understand what's going on. Maybe it's a kidney disease. Maybe it's a kidney
The lower
disease.
back?
Yeah, the lower back. Maybe it's a kidney disease. There's a kidney disease that we've not talked about. They are called stones.
Yes.
You can have a kidney stone and this will give you backache. Might even give you abdominal pain going all the way down to where you pee from. So, and then having blood in urine. That could be a sign of kidney disease. Half the time when you see blood in urine, it might not even be the kidney, it might be the blood or somewhere else, or a stone. But it's part of the whole spectrum of kidney disease. There are some patients who, when they go to the toilet, they realize that their urine is a bit more frothy than usual. The nature of
the bubbles,
many bubbles, kind of. It looks like omo, like you're going to wash your clothes. So that also could be a sign of kidney disease, right?
Then what about the color of the urine?
So you could get some colors of urine that suggest kidney disease. The most common being red, which suggests blood.
Blood.
Most common being red, which suggests blood. But there are some other subtle colors. There is green.
Did you say green?
Yes.
Oh.
So there are patients who have green urine, but it's more of a very, very massive infection, and that is pus caused by a certain bacteria. There is purple, also caused by another bacteria, but that's more of a urinary tract infection. So mainly mainly red, and maybe sometimes when it is cloudy, could suggest that you have some proteins in the urine, or infection at the same time. Another thing about kidney disease is, we mentioned back pain. So I don't think we mentioned back pain. Yeah. So those are some of the signs. If you have high blood pressure that is not going away, you might want to check your kidneys. And by going away, I mean you're on drugs, you're on medication 1, 2, 3, and your doctor is telling you these drugs medications are, there are many, and you're trying this and this and this, let's try this. your doctor will most likely check you for kidney disease, see if you have kidney disease. Because kidney disease and high blood pressure usually go alongside each other. And they are very, very stubborn when they have high blood pressure and kidney disease.
And then diabetes fits also into the picture.
It's a cousin.
Oh, okay.
It comes in there, that's for sure. Then maybe for the patients who have high blood sugar, if you have had high blood sugar for a long time and you've been on 3 medications, 4 medications, and then you realize that you're starting to need less medication, it might be a good thing, but it might also signify that you have kidney disease. Because with worsening kidney disease comes improving blood sugars.
Say that again.
Every time you have kidney disease that is worsening, your blood sugars might look like they're getting better. And that is one of the signs that you might look out for and say, doctor told me my sugars look like they're, if I start to require less medication, you are using 4 medications, now you're starting to use 3, then
you
2,
get to 2,
you
then
get to 1, you're dropping it off. You're losing, your blood sugars are in the 3s most of the time. You're feeling, you're shaking, you're having signs of low blood sugar. You might want to check your kidneys. Because half the time those patients actually have kidney disease.
Now, with what you have said, before we even get to what you have said, let's first take at this particular point, I'd like us to take a very short break for about like a minute or 2. Then when we do come back, we'll still continue with this topic of discussion.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
This is our family's pride.
This is my friend.
This is the future of our nation.
She is the future of Uganda, and the policies I enact today will protect her from teenage pregnancy.
She is the hope of our community, and I will talk to others about how we must protect her.
She is our family's pride, and I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Their support meant so much to me. I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. You're still watching You Health Chat, proudly sponsored by National Medical Stores. And we're talking about living well with kidney disease. And of course, the expert specialist is here and taking us more into it. Doctor, before we went for that break, you know, like I was put at hold. I was like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Because you did really explain something that I found rather strange. And I don't know if also the patients who are living with this condition or caregivers know about it, that as the blood sugar levels, you know, go normalizing, then you surely should be able to identify that you've developed kidney disease. That is rather worrying, but yeah, true, this happens.
Yes.
Now, what kind of treatment is offered for kidney disease?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think it really depends on what kind of kidney disease you have. And one of the things we try to do is to make sure we diagnose it early, because if we diagnose it early, then we're able to intervene. And you realize I've not said treat, because some of the kidney diseases which are not infections, you know, are treated by managing other areas.
Exactly.
You see?
Like the diabetes, the pressure. So the kidney is able to get what it wants.
The civil servant,
is happy.
Correct.
All right.
Civil servant is happy. So, but if you to treat kidney disease, if it's an infection, of course you will need an antibiotic. If it's malaria that is causing you an AKI, that is causing acute kidney injury, you will need antimalarials. Half the time when someone has a kidney that is dysfunctional in a short term, we actually have no drug in particular for the kidney, because we look out for what has caused this civil servant to be unhappy. Is he having nowhere to pass the urine? Is he having an infection? Is his blood sugar too high? Is the blood pressure too high? etc, etc. Or has something happened? Is there something that is out of the blue that is causing this civil servant to be unhappy? When we find that, then we treat it, and half the time the civil servant will come back and smile. Okay? We never talked about the symptom of lacking urine. Yes.
It's also a symptom.
It is a symptom.
You're not passing out the waste products.
Passing out the waste products.
So everything is in there.
Everything is holding in there. So I'll give you an example. You can be admitted for something else. Say, I'll use malaria since it is common. And then on the third day, your urine just stops coming. At that point in time, it shows you something is wrong with the civil servant. Now that's a symptom that makes you now look out for what's wrong with the civil servant. The urine is not coming, and that's the symptom. And now, I will not give you any drug to bring the urine out. I will continue treating the malaria while I support you. The civil servant needs to know that everything else in the body is okay. And with time, they will come back and smile. And this is what we call the acute kidney injury. Acute meaning it is short term. Kidney injury meaning the kidney has been injured. In the event that despite doing all that, the civil servant is still unhappy and is still sleeping or in shock for that matter, and we realize that because of that the toxins are accumulating too much, you're getting complications from that process, then we treat you to remove the toxins. To remove the excess salts which are bad for your heart, to remove the acids which are bad for every aspect of your body, so to say, before those toxins reach your brain. Because if they do, then you start to have issues of the brain, you start to get confused, you can convulse, etc. So now that treatment is called dialysis.
Okay, dialysis is supposed to help you to remove the toxins.
Exactly. Okay. So it works as the kidney for that time when the kidney is out of the office.
It's like the substitute.
You're getting the substitute, you're giving the body what it needs, you're removing toxins, you're keeping things in the inside normal until the kidney comes back to life, so to say. And this happens in very, very many people who you start on dialysis for that reason. So now that becomes a treatment for the acute injury. Now, this injury that lasts longer, that is caused by diseases, then you have to treat those diseases. You have to make sure the blood pressure is controlled, blood sugar is controlled for those diabetics. If it's HIV, it is very well suppressed. You're on ARVs and they are good, and your blood and your cells in your blood for the virus are removed, or they are actually at zero or undetected or suppressed, like we call it. There are some diseases of the kidneys that need special drugs. These diseases attack the kidney itself primarily, and there are some drugs that we give you to either reduce the disease activity within the kidney or even to cure it at some times. Or, like in cancer, we cause a remission of that disease. It might recur later on or not. And of course, all these things are told to the patient. This is what you have, this is how you're going to treat it, this is how you're going to do this and this and that. If it is blockage, unblock. We have very many unblockers in the city. You know, and along and around Uganda. So we are able to, if it's a stone, remove it. If it's a prostate, we see what to do about it, you know. If it's something else, a stricture from whatever your child are on, we're able to treat that as well. And, you know, as I said, if you treat that, then the kidney is happy and you're back to normal. Is every kidney disease curable? Not really, unfortunately. And if you've had kidney disease for more than 3 months, there's a high chance that
it will progress.
It will progress. So if you have had it for more than 3 months, we call that now chronic kidney disease. Whether they are finding proteins in your urine or there's blood or the other things, we call it chronic kidney disease. And unfortunately, we are not able to cure that. We are not able to stop it from progressing. What we are able to do is to reduce the way and the speed by which it progresses. If you're supposed to drive, if you're supposed to get from here to Gulu in 4 hours,
you slow down.
You slow down, you reach there in 8 hours. Reach there in 8 hours, or in 10, depending on how the good Lord has decided, you know. And there are drugs that help us to do that, that have been tried and tested, and at least those ones are there. Some of them might be expensive, and that's another discussion for you, I think most likely later. But so that's how we treat kidney disease. For these patients who have chronic kidney disease, they reach a time whereby the doctor tells you, now your kidneys are dysfunctional to a much higher level. So to say, they are in a last stage. So there's a way we grade kidney disease from grade 1 to grade 5. Grade 1 being the most mild phase, and grade 5 being the extreme, the most severe. When you reach grade 5, then we start having talks of dialysis and or transplantation. These are, now transplantation is a treatment, dialysis is a support. And those are two different things. And that's why we are having the discussion of transplantation more and more now in Uganda and across the world.
Then can transplantation, when it occurs, must it be both? Or it possibly sometimes can be one, since these two work together, but you've also seen scenarios of those having only one.
So, interesting that we're now discussing that. Transplantation, we do not take out your old kidneys, because despite them being, useless, so to say, they are still doing some work. They are still managing something here and there, and it's also tedious to remove them, and they bleed a lot. So what we do, or what the surgeons do, is they add your kidney from a suitable donor. So you end up with three kidneys. One healthy kidney and your two which were dysfunctional. But you must have been in grade 5, what we call end stage, for us to start discussions of transplantation and going ahead with transplantation. Yeah. Dialysis, the same thing. You must be in stage 5 and you must have reasons for us to give you dialysis. So your kidneys must show us that they need help. And there are some things we look at. That's why we normally have a clinic every month or every so often. You look at the patient and you're looking for all those complications to see if they are there. Because we said if your kidneys are not working well for a long time, then there will be some complications. Some of these complications allow us or implore us to use dialysis. So it's not everyone who has kidney disease that should be on dialysis.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is why we stage them in those stages, so that we're able to plan for you appropriately and see which treatments you need. With each stage comes more and more complications. Some of these, blood reduces. Some of these, the acids increase. The blood pressure starts to go haywire. And all of these stages and all of these complications must be looked out for, and they must be managed. And that makes treatment of kidney disease sometimes expensive.
Now, doctor, I would like you to tell me, because just have a few minutes left, in about 3 or 4 minutes, I would like you to tell me about, I'm meant to understand, under the foundation that you belong to, you are planning something, and that is towards World Kidney Day.
Yes.
What exactly, what activities, what should we expect as the public out here?
Thank you, Sophie. So World Kidney Day is celebrated world over every year, the second Thursday of March. And we pride in it because as the Uganda Kidney Foundation, we add our voices to the rest of the kidney foundations and international organizations in the world to advocate for kidney disease and kidney health. It is a day whereby all of us who love kidneys, could even be you. You don't have to be a kidney health specialist. Because in Uganda Kidney Foundation we have doctors, nurses, social workers, patients, donors, recipients, drivers, and just corporate social organizations. And all these are just kidney health advocates. Through the years, we've been doing kidney health screening free for the public. We've been to Mbale last year. We're in Barra some time back. We've done Kampala several times. We've been to Parliament. We went and we screened the honorable members and surrounding areas. It was quite exciting. And so what we do there is really just to add our voices to the voices in the world and echo out for kidney health, prevention of kidney disease. We echo out that how transplantation is good and how it is good and awesome to be a kidney donor. We talk to policymakers to understand the numbers of kidney disease, so they can be able to plan, And then, so this time round in 2023, we are having a scientific conference. To be a 2-day scientific conference whereby it is mainly for capacity building for health workers. We're trying now to focus on the health workers and the upcoming health workers, so that we increase on their knowledge for kidney disease and associated diseases. And we believe that this will go a long way in preparing them to face the pandemic that is definitely going to come sometime. Kidney disease currently and other NCDs cause about 50% of the world's deaths. And unfortunately, it's going to worsen because the risk factors are becoming more and more.
And it's with our lifestyle.
etc. So that is what World Kidney Day is all about. We're excited about it, and this is one of the activities we are doing. We are going to have several TV shows. We're going to have several radio talks, and all of them aiming at advocacy for kidney health.
And the free screening?
The free screening this year will be for another day. As soon as we have that, we shall definitely let the public know. Shall let the public know.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it's 7 minutes to the top of the hour. And of course, Doctor, the next time we see Doctor possibly here on this set, we'll be putting him on the hot spot, because the transplanting bit, I think, is a lengthy topic and a topic for yet another day. We would like to say thank you so much for keeping it here with us on UBC. You've been such a lovely audience, and of course, we encourage you to eat well, because they say you are what you eat. Living well with kidney disease is what we've been talking about. I would like to hand over right now for a few commercials as we wait for Lauren Kazimoto to come in at 10 o'clock with the news. Good night from me and from the doctor.
Good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It takes courage, passion, practical engagement, career interest, vision, targets who want to create a thriving economic empire. Entrepreneurs Hub, giving you a deep and unique insight into agribusiness, services, ICT, and